Are we live? Yes.
Greetings.
Hello. So we're here. I got Mrs. Blonde with me
Yes,
and
hi.
CPE, and
Hello.
we're gonna have a discussion. Just talk about a bunch of idiots and their effect on all of this community and what the hijinks that they're coming with.
The voices of reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Where do we start then, Victor?
I don't know. So okay, so how about you explain your experience with this whole thing with Dean and all of this
Mm.
disruption?
Yeah, how I met Dean, like what Ricardo did, like the Dean origin story sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, because it's weird because I was actually recording this just before Ricardo started doing his history lessons sort of thing. I was just recording my memories of it all. So it's in my mind. So, oh God, when did it happen? The first time I saw him, I think was at Tony's. Um, and then he quickly got into Evils, and it was over the Evil Summer of Evil, and he was just there all the time. And then I used to go over to his streams because I had him down as a handful, and I knew he was crazy, and I could tell he was like, a bit mental and whatever. And but like, it's not a problem. It's just sort
Uh-huh.
of like, oh, there's a bit of a mental person. That's interesting. Um, but it was. I thought it was funny because I thought someone. Now I don't. Is that Mac Benet? Is that actually Dawson? I think it is. But he was saying, I think in Evils yesterday that he thought Dean was joking at some point. But I think that's how he gets people because at first, like, you think he's joking, you
He
think it's all
seems
a
like
joke.
a pretty decent, like, he's got. I mean, he doesn't say much, but he's got like a voice, like a kind of charismatic voice. I would say, you
Well,
know.
works on that.
Sorry.
I think he puts effort into that, so it's like,
Right. Well,
um,
he's trying to do the voices. I hear him trying to do voices, and he does kind of funny things. And
yeah. And he was
I
trying.
mean,
He did that
he
big.
has glimmers of some talent here and there.
Yeah.
But go on.
Mm. Well, it was like that place was so bleak, and like you've noticed as well, you've brought it up before about
Yes.
how uncreative it was.
Right.
And in a way, that was kind of the draw because if you've got a load of 40-year-old men arguing about their video game collections, who's got the most or who's got the biggest score in a game or whatever, that's
Right.
kind of like the attraction to me because I was just like, this is hilarious. But like, so the creativity side of it really didn't feature. But then once you'd been in it for a while, and then with the Amico stuff coming up, and then you met, and what I met, like Evil and Tommy and Hooligan and Justin.
Fitty shrimp.
Yeah, what the
That's
hell's
an
all that?
inside joke.
Oh, okay. All right.
Carla Costa. What's
I've
up?
One
never.
of the main
Carla
guys is
Costa's
calling him
awesome.
Shrimp because he's only 5'2".
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Part
Yeah.
of why he kicks off like he does.
Yeah.
so is that why he acts like that?
Yeah. He's probably angry.
So he's got small dick syndrome.
Probably.
Big
Oh,
time. It's a king prawn. It's just a little king prawn.
wow. Poor thing. There are things that will help that. But anyway, yes, go on.
I think the things he does aren't going to help it.
Oh, he does lots of what is that? Booger sugar?
I don't. Oh yeah,
Who knows
Booker.
what he does? He does all kinds. I've seen a video where he's talking about picking up pills, and he had the plug. He says it all on
The
like on
plug.
YouTube.
What?
Yeah. He'll
Yeah.
like start
Like,
going just as about to
like,
come
No,
up.
no, 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 not what you think.
oh, because I'm thinking like the dick
The
pump or
plug.
something
No, no,
to
no,
make
no,
his
no,
dick
no. We're talking
bigger.
about drugs. He's
Oh, okay.
he's big on drugs.
Oh no.
It
Okay.
seems like it, anyways. And he talks about it on the videos. Like somebody told me, I think I don't want to say any names, but somebody told me that he did a video where he's actually grabbing drugs off of somebody in the live stream while he's
Oh
streaming.
my. Like what? The
Yeah.
bull?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think definitely there's been what's it? Veiled versions of that in streams where he's been like, all right, mate, and stuff like
That's
that.
his
Oh, I
hi,
wonder if
Mrs.
that is.
Blonde.
Hi. What? Why is Mr. Lupin playing? So,
I
What?
can't see the chat yet because I'm still stood at the doorway smoking. But
Oh, that's not my pick. That's Mrs. Blonde pick. And don't look at it too much.
Yeah, and I look like Lewis.
Oh, sorry?
I say, and I look like Lewis.
Oh, I can't even make it out.
Yeah, well, it was the last minute and I didn't have anything on my phone apart from that Lewis Saves picture, so I put that on it.
it says Mrs. Blonde, you fake drunk.
Okay, so where were you? So you would go and hang out in Dean's streams, and then the
Well, when I met Evil when I saw what Evil and Tommy were doing, it was like the creative side of things.
right.
And that was like new.
Evil Streams is my friend. He's awesome. I
Okay.
love Evil Streams.
Yeah.
Big guy.
I wanted to support those guys when it all went down, but prior to that, it was just like I'm going to go over there because that's where the fun people are, that's where the creative people are, that's where the
That's what drew me to you guys. That's the same reason why I was there, because I was like, oh my god, these guys are the most. They have the best. The guy's getting drunk on stream and doing voices and just being funny, and he's playing weird games, and it's just the chat is so much fun. You got Carla in there, you got Tommy eating paste. Yeah,
Eating
chats in there.
What kind of fucking names are
You haven't even wait till you watch Slotham tomorrow. You'll see some right names.
Oh yeah. Okay, she doesn't know who Slotham is. So would you explain Slotham to my wife?
Right. Well, it's exactly like any David Attenborough. Do you have David Attenborough over there? Like the nature guy. I'm sure you have your own version of like the nature guy. He's got his own voice. You know, you have the nature thing and you have the voice of the guy doing the narration. Well, it's like the greyback gorilla. Do you know what I mean? He's old. He's lost his shine, and then the new gorilla comes and just like rips the old gorilla away. Takes all his women, takes everything,
I think you know what? I think we got to start way at the beginning. We got to explain Darius. See, that's how I got involved with all this, because there was a guy named Darius, and I think I explained this to you a while ago. Where the guy in Hamilton, and I had my friend that I talked to sometimes from Hamilton, right? Yeah. Okay, so those two guys, they had like a fight, and I didn't like how the one guy reacted. It was really bad. Like, he started saying all his personal life business, and I supported the other guy because he was actually cool, right? And I was cool with him, so I supported him. Yeah, I supported him, and then like, all this bad stuff happened where like, people's like videos of the guy started coming out and information, and it got ugly, right?
Yeah, no, that's not cool.
So yeah. So anyways, that's when I made friends with that one guy from Hamilton. So after that, it kind of just whatever. I always kind of kept an eye on what he was doing. It was always on my YouTube, right? Because I would follow all the different and always every once in a while his name would come up with another guy and more information coming out. Like he got I remember when he got catfished, and then the guy put his dick pic on the yeah
no
and so but the thing is, the guy keeps going. He keeps going back and acting like he's the shit every time.
Not the fucking dick pic, man.
So
he's the one who puts his whole life on display by attacking these people. People don't realize how much it shows of yourself when you do that. So he's putting himself out there and basically showing his like internal workings to everybody, and then complaining when people come back and say, "Oh, we know this about you, and we know that about you," and it's mad.
Yeah, like if he never did that to Alpha Nerd back in the day, he wouldn't. Yeah, that's not cool, Johnny. But that's the guy's address. That's his.
Why would you keep posting that guy's address, man? Take that off. It's not cool.
It's too late. It's too
It's,
late.
it's whatever. It's
It's become a
everywhere
thing of its own.
I
It's
know.
like
in
mascot.
itself now.
I know, but still, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I've done a video with that number all over it.
So that's my only connection to this is that guy. So I always followed him, right? Like kind of like there's like the freak shows on internet you kind of follow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So then this Slotham guy comes and he was the latest guy that's making fun of him. But Slotham is not like the other guys. He's very like tenacious and he does a video every day almost. Like at first it was every day. Right, CP?
Yeah, I think at the moment he is doing it every day. He only had a bit of a break for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, Johnny, we get the point. You don't need to
Yeah, that's what he says in the video. I'm sorry, Robert. It's so funny, and it's like so perfect that this stuff comes up because it's so funny. It's so good. Like you couldn't write this.
No, you really couldn't. This is just the
Yeah,
best entertainment.
putting people's address and shit like that.
But you know what? He was supporting other people's address. I seen a video of him. There was a big time video game collector, and he was doing something bad, right? He was collecting things saying that he was going to open a video game museum, and it never opened, right? To this day, I don't think he ever said anything about this damn museum. But that Darius guy supported people sending fecal matter and other things to this guy's house.
It's the hypocrisy, yeah.
When he said it, and the thing is, he didn't get it. He didn't release his address by some nefarious means. He's the one that said it right on the internet.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. From what you told me, wasn't it because he ordered something? And
and he didn't.
Yeah, well, he's got to learn his lesson. And he don't order things online when you're streaming. Like, don't say your address when you're streaming. Like, I don't know if you know, Mrs. Blonde, but I had a mess up and my picture ended up out there because I was trying to draw a picture of Rabbit Dude, and I turned my camera around and I thought I'd put it on back camera, and I swear to God to this day that I'd put it on back camera, but when I went over to just small check on it, they got my picture, and I was like, well, there you go. That's where I'm at, and it's not great, but it's just the way it goes. It's not. It could have been worse. I was looking down over the camera at 3:00 in the morning, so it wasn't the worst picture considering the situation. And I was just like, whatever. But the fact was that all these other, like especially Darius, like these people that's very similar things had happened to, they were sort of making sure, trying to stop us from talking to people and all sorts of stuff, just because we didn't have a go at people when they put his number up on the chart or things like that. We just let people say what they wanted to say. That was enough for them to turn us into like the worst people in the world, even though they were doing exactly the same thing that they were accusing us of.
Right. It's not your responsibility for that, like
it's happened to me, do you know what I mean? And so I'm just like, well, it happened to him, it happened to me. This is the world this is the space that we're in, it's a bit of a troll pit. And you have to, like I've said this many times, you've got to put your boots on if you're going in the troll pit, and if you don't, that's your fault.
Yep. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so then when I met these people, when I met Evil, so one time I would just mess around and just stream my boxing games. You see me streaming the boxing game, right?
Yeah.
And then this Evil guy, one time I get a message on my thing. It says, "Oh yeah, this guy's sniping your stream." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay, whatever. I don't care. I'm just playing boxing." So, and then I checked out the channel, whatever. I went to his stream and I seen that he was a funny guy, and then I started learning about all these other people. Well, also from Slotham, but I started learning about all these other people, and then these people are telling me, like, Tommy, is Tommy in there? Yeah, what's up, Tommy? We flexing the remix. And he knows a lot, and he's telling me all the bad things that all these people do, and I'm like, I'm shocked, and so I don't know. I just wanted to let you know about this. It's like crazy situation that we're involved in here in the internet.
Oh my God!
And I'm having lots of fun, like learning about all this stuff, hanging out with these guys, talking to them. I'm not gonna glass.
I know, and do you know the main reason that Carl said he didn't want to hang around why he betrayed us? I saw it on that stream for a second. I watched it for a second, and I just caught that bit where he went, why did you do it or something? He was like, oh, to tell you the truth, it was just because I was bored because those guys are just boring.
Oh, okay.
What he said. And I was just like, oh, he just can't see. He just can't.
Right. He wants that instant gratification. Because remember that I was talking to that Carl guy, right? And I would stream with him once in a while. I did only maybe 2, right, or 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then remember I told you, he kind of just abandoned me. He went back to hanging out with those assholes.
Yes. Yep.
Right. And then so he's saying that it's because we're boring, but it's like I was trying to do things to create a show, whatever, and he was like not responsive, not you like I would throw out thought experiments out there and he wouldn't go with it.
You're
you know?
boring.
He had a plan though.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just his excuse. He was.
And those guys, all they do, and it really is. I mean, they will talk about other stuff now a bit more, but Carl just wants someone to. I don't know. It's like a certain type of interaction that he wasn't getting from us, and it's kind of fawning interaction that he needs to soothe his troubled soul or something, and so he needs that someone to be kissing his arse basically. And we were just talking to him like a normal human being, and that I think is boring to him. He needs some sort of play in action to keep him involved, and most of the time he's the one being played. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, is that what he wants to be made fun of? Because like I don't see anybody kissing.
No, they are. No, they seriously are, because obviously that's how they keep him on side. Because Carl is very fickle. You know what I mean? If you don't get the right response and all that stuff, I mean, it's a bit different with those guys because he does idolize them a bit, so they'll get away with more stuff. And as well, excuse me, but certain times if you've been, attacked throughout your life, you can't really tell the difference in attention between negative and positive sometimes, and it gets mixed up. And if you've got someone like Dean who's using a mix of telling you what you want to hear, gaslighting you, and then attacking you, it's kind of the mix that Carl probably hasn't had, the bit where they kiss his arse before, but it's mixed in with something that's kind of something that he's used to, you know what I mean? And something that maybe frames it in a way that he can understand it better, so that he can get the entertainment out of it more than he can from us when we're just talking to him like a normal person. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, because he always says that. I don't care that they make fun of me or whatever. So it's like, okay, what can I say to that? If he says he doesn't,
it comes up with all these reasons, and I don't know which ones are real and which ones aren't, because he probably
right. Well, that's another case, and I don't want to go into that. So move on, because I don't want to.
No, I'm not saying negative about him. It's just the way it was. I just found that interesting. That's his main reason that he sticks with now.
Right. I feel like I had a wrong idea about that guy, and it didn't, and if he's fine with what he's doing, that's fine, and that's cool.
You know what I mean? It's like, I think I can see why he's chosen it. I do think that in a way they're a perfect match, him and Dean. Whether they're particularly good for each other is up, it's up to perspective, I suppose. But in a way, they've kind of found each other, and it's like fair dues.
Yeah.
What you want.
That's cool. Toxicity, I would say.
Yeah,
circle jerk.
The toxic brotherhood,
the toxic brotherhood. I like that.
There's something in it for him, and there probably is. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those. I mean, once, right? And this is what I came back to in the end. When I messaged you and I said, "Look, this is just what he's chosen," and I've had to get my head around it. And the thing that came to mind was once there was, I think it was 1 or 2 cats in my friend's garden, and they'd caught a mouse, and they were like playing with the mouse and torturing the mouse. And me and my friend were like, "Oh no, like, oh God, what are we gonna do?" So like, we went and like tried to rescue the mouse, and we did manage to succeed in rescuing the mouse.
Yeah.
And we moved it, and the cats were still in the garden, but we were just like, we moved it away, and we were like, go on, run for your life. And the mouse
went straight back to the cats, probably.
ran straight back into the cat. Yeah,
So,
and
yeah,
I was
so-
just
so-
like, that's just nature. Like, you can't fight nature. And obviously the mouse was maybe half dead or something and probably wanted finishing off. Who knows?
Maybe, who knows? Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened here, isn't it? Like, so yeah.
What
moving
about
on.
the chat? Is there any interesting chats, baby? What's Carla saying?
Uses mental access to manipulate people, and unfortunately, CPE. I don't know.
What does it say?
Having a look now. I'm coming in to have a look at the chat.
I guess that's Carl uses his mentally handicapped status to manipulate people, and unfortunately, CP got manipulated by him to a certain extent. Well, it's like I guess it's not like manipulation. I would say it's more of like you have a soft spot for that sort of thing, and then so you kind of let your guard down, and then it turns out like I said it before, but I was shocked to learn that Carl was older than me. When we kind of talked the first time, and then he told me his age, and I'm like, "You're 6 months older than me." I was like, "Wow," and I guess his personality or his
He hides it, or like you say, maybe puts on some sort of, or whoever it said about is using his card. It kind of plays a part, but underneath is this brooding adult who knows what he's doing up to a certain point as well.
right.
So yeah, it's all underneath with Carl. I think what I didn't realise, I took him at sort of face value a little bit, and I underestimated him on that score, I think, because he had a lot going on, and nothing that he was doing was what he was really doing. And I don't think I've come across that many people like that in my life who are that opposite to what it is they're actually meaning, you know. And I got fooled by that.
It's I think they're making fun of Albert here. That's me.
Who's Albert?
Albert. Okay, Albert. So CP, start to explain Albert to my wife for me.
Well, Albert Menendez is only 5'2", and he's got a dick like a king prawn. He's got a brick pillow, and he's just a bit sad about it all, and so he takes it all out on us.
And okay, so this guy apparently he's homeless.
Okay.
But
he has a phone and internet?
Well, that's what I said, right? Like I never believed that he was homeless, but apparently he said it or said something to that effect.
Who is Albert? Oh dear. Yeah, evil. Okay, so what?
Yeah,
I'm asking because I don't know, okay?
And the sad thing is today he posted a video where he's at the Ice Capades or something. So he must be with daughters because he has a family with daughters and stuff, and you know.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently, I guess what people kind of say a lot is that he doesn't really spend a lot of time with them, whatever. So I guess today he posted that video, meaning he's with them, and that's good. That's a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's spending time with his daughters, but
it's a challenge. It is a challenge, Mrs. Blonde, because like you come in and you're like, oh, they take the piss out of this person because he's got a handicap. They take the piss out of this person because he's homeless. They put this guy's address on, and you're just like, what the fuck is this place?
Right.
But
right.
then you get to know what's going on, and you're like, oh, and that's the interest in it, because it challenges your perceptions of what your normal, decent perceptions would be of what's decent in society, and that's what I found interesting.
Right.
Tommy is saying that Albert's on Dean's stream right now with Carl.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Dean started as soon as you started.
Okay.
So we've got a rival stream going on.
I don't know if it's a rival. It's just two different streams going. It's all good.
Yes.
Albert is a 5'2" shrimp, no house, no car, and no girlfriend. Only owns a blue tent.
Yeah, I
You know
totally
what?
agree with Tommy on that
I will
one.
show you one of the Slotham videos. I'll go
Okay.
back. I'll scroll back to an old one, and I'll let you listen to it.
I'll just touch on Tommy's comment there about Dean being super threatened. 100% because everything that Dean does is stimulated from the external. Because this is what I've been. Well, that's from my pop psychology ideas that I've got about psychology from the internet. But yeah, like from what I've been researching, it's to do with them not having a very good sense of the internal versus the external. So because of childhood trauma, and possibly not very much involvement with the mother, they end up with not being able to differentiate the external, because the external is actually your first mirror when you're an infant, when you're first realizing that you are a separate being from your mum, like the bit that we don't remember.
Right.
That bit, if it's not done like at all right, then they don't have that thing to reflect themselves back in as a separate entity. So they don't really ever have a real good sense of what's external and internal, and their internal world regulates them instead of the external.
Right, right.
But
So
because
you're
they
saying
haven't got that thing to regulate them, they seek that reaction from people to regulate themselves, so they can
right.
see themselves through their reactions that they get through these people.
Oh, okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah, and so therefore, like a lot of their stuff comes through external stimulus. Like it's all to do with other people and what other people think.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It is like that because it's like they go after every single person. Like this guy, he'll find you if you said something about him somewhere. He knows about it. Like he's watching everything to make sure that nobody's talking about it. It's like, how could you live
Why?
like that?
Why is he so paranoid?
I don't know. It's crazy to me because I just for me I'm like, okay, I know people are gonna make fun of me, whatever. That's fine.
Gives a shit.
Right, but I'm not gonna go look for it. You know what I
It's
mean? And let
fucking-
it be,
listen,
let it live out there where it belongs.
Listen, this is fucking all bullshit internet shit. Okay, who? If they were in front of you, they probably wouldn't even say half of the shit that they're saying behind.
I
the
don't
screen.
know though.
Oh, this
These
guy
guys are
was
kind of crazy.
this guy's dangerous. You wouldn't want to be anywhere near him.
Right.
Before, like everyone in this war, I think I would happily be probably all right with if I saw them in the street, apart from Dean and probably Carl, because they're dangerous. Certain people, when they're hell bent on self-destruction, they'll take you down with them.
Oh yeah.
And they really will. Like, and it's not just like a little bit. Like these, like when you go into stuff, these are the people that attack people and stuff.
Right, right. And it's just something that I noticed about Dean when I was kind of like almost getting into it with him, and I was kind of seeing his videos, and it's like, yeah, whatever. You can see what he's doing, and he's trying to be funny, and he's trying to do the thing, but like there was always this weird aura or like a just something about it that just was twisted. Like to me, I don't know. I can't explain it. It was something that was behind, like maybe in his eyes or
Yeah.
something just in the air in the video.
Black hole. It's the nothing, from the never-ending story.
Right.
Yeah.
Dean is a women beater, really? Oh, that fucking really pisses me off.
Yeah.
Well, that's a legend. Allegedly, I mean that's a theory. I wouldn't put too much weight into that, but it's possible. I mean,
But
he
your
did.
question of why he's paranoid, though, it's because he's in a constant state of threat, and he always has been.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And it's like what I said in that video about him. The analogy is like he's, instead of just like a normal person, you get your hand caught in the cookie jar, in whatever level of that it is, and you just like, oh shit, you got me. Do you know what I mean? Or oh shit, I should have been doing that. I didn't realize I was doing that. Or you just like you realize, you self-reflect, and you just like, oh shit. Sometimes you might need a little bit more persuasion than other times, because we're not perfect, and it is just a normal human reaction to be like, no, it wasn't me. But like he then, because of the level of threat probably that he was under as a child, couldn't ever admit that. And so then over time you get this ingrained behavior of being superior, always being right, always having to win that conversation.
Right.
of your whole identity being just like disintegrated if you don't.
Yeah, your ego is always a threat, like all the time, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't live like that.
Yeah, he sees everybody as a threat. That's positive or
Right.
negative. Even his
Yeah.
friends, like the friends
Yeah,
he's got.
yeah, yeah. Because they always go after each other. If there's nobody else to go after, they go after each other. It's like it's incessant.
So it's almost like a not a skits, but
Well, it's like a narcissist, right? You're saying
Acting
that
out. He's acting out basically. And he's used the internet to do it. And the madness of this situation is because he's found the Darius community. It was already a really strange kind of unique place that
yeah,
where certain, like I was saying, certain like ideals and certain norms weren't the same.
right,
But still, in my opinion, it was still fairly respectful within the rules, fairly respectful, and it had a certain way and a certain set of ethics that was quite flexible, but it was there. And there was a high level of acceptance, surprisingly. And that was the thing that got me, is like, they might not talk about it, but everybody kind of accepted everyone.
right.
Even kind of took the piss out of each other. And it was a weird thing. And so Dean, that combination of Dean and then moving into that community, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So he disrupted everything.
Yeah.
See, I was so at arm's length with this whole thing during all this. So it's like I only seen it at face value in terms of Darius. So like I didn't even consider any of the people that are commenting, that are fans or whatever that. Like I never even considered that stuff. So here, like kind of getting a peek behind the curtain and seeing all the crap that went down behind this Darius thing. And like the thing you have to understand is these are people that believe in conspiracy theories, they believe in lizard people, they believe in flat earth, they believe all this stuff. So it's like
UFOs,
crazy
and all
people.
that shit.
like I think Darius and at one point I was friends with this Darius, like not friends, but like, I used to watch his channel and I would comment and he would interact with me. And I noticed that he was a fan of this comedian that was called Owen Benjamin. And this guy says some pretty extreme stuff. He was canceled, blacklisted, all of this stuff because he says a lot of extreme stuff. And I noticed that Darius was kind of spouting off all of that stuff. And how I love Alex Jones and all that, right? Like, so I knew all about that stuff, and I was like, wow, this guy, he's like a total nut. Like he knows all, like he's all into
Darius, the poor man's Alex Jones. Like,
right. Oh my, he's beyond the poor man's.
I don't even know what sort of Alex Jones he is. I'd have to think about that. It's not even possible. So we could come up with something better than that. Yeah.
So was it? Who's in the
Tommy
chat?
had it White Man's North Korea. That's what that place was. It still is. Like,
yeah. Well, what do you? Okay, so what do you think about how Darius is now? Like, obviously he's done with everything.
I'm literally only hearing stuff secondhand. I don't go and watch his streams or any of that. I just haven't got time. There's enough going on, and I just
right. I don't watch it either, but apparently, he's kind of denouncing the rats.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, the whole aspect of that is it's a bit too little, too late for my personal beef with him. It's not that I want to grudge or anything with him, but he's shown what he's like.
Right. But the thing is, I've always known that side of him because I'd seen the filthy rat right from the first.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? It's really interesting that, and here we are coming back to.
And I think that's why I'm ready for him to kind of be like, okay, over it, because like it's been so long of me knowing that he's a thing. So to see him kind of like acknowledge it, I'm like, sorry.
That's the thing. He's not learning anything from it. He's just finding a different way of hiding. That's from what I've gathered anyway. I can't speak.
Maybe he's just kind of just done with it.
Yeah, he's just done. Yeah. But the thing is, don't start what you can't finish. And that's my thing, is like, he'll just go down to me as someone who I sort of just like a thing of like, oh, look at that. You start off seeing someone in one way and you finish off seeing him in a completely different way. It's not the first time that's happened, and it won't be the last time that's happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just one of them with him. I see him as a bit of a symptom. He's kind of the cause and the symptom. So like the cause is that he managed uniquely, and this is what I originally said to you, there's a unique thing about Darius, and he managed to have that weird community that was like a grey area, and he managed to keep that, and he managed to get that acceptance. And I think that was the main thing. And I think it was to do with the fact that he did acknowledge everyone's comment, and so everyone just had this, there was like an equality there, even though there wasn't. So he managed to do that. So he was the cause in that sense. But then when Slotham was like, oh, go in on Darius and stuff, when I was kicking off about those guys, and I was like, well, kind of, and I will do when I've got a point to say. But in general, he's not my focus, because he's just a symptom in this case. What happened with him is these vampires came in and then didn't listen to us.
As I think Darius already came with baggage from his previous transgressions at that point. Because he was already doing bad things. He was already doing the Hancock thing, and he already went through the Jason thing. There's many people this guy's fought with.
Well, he was still going with the Jason thing. I mean, that's still ongoing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, obviously.
They're never gonna give up.
Another thing that I want to say that
tell her the legend of Bobstein Island / Lewis diarrhea.
Oh, there's another. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants a drink. So.
Yeah, he's like a pearl that's come out of the oyster of it all. Because Lewis was always a I don't know what would I say, a colourful character in the community. And now he's just lost it big time. He is small potatoes. That's what makes him so interesting, though, isn't it? Like, that's the whole point. Everything's kind of turned on its head in this community. So it's like, the small proud goose, you know what I mean? Someone who's sticking their chest out and they're like, whoa, like super proud, but actually is like just like a small weedy little child. Someone who's been manipulated. I think that, they're easily manipulated, and they've been manipulated by Dean for a long time. So they came with Dean when he turned up in our community. And I do believe that he's probably an artifact of a previous community that Dean has probably ripped apart quite easily and collected people along the way. It's been a bit different in this one. But Lewis is man alive. I don't even know. I mean, just play the video, man. Play the video, the latest one. That's all you can say. It's like he changes his voice, but he does like a really shit job of it, so you could totally tell it's him.
Why does he do that?
I don't know, because then he'll come into chat and then he'll like
being creative, like he's doing a voice.
He's trying to be
like,
creative,
he says these ominous things, and it's like.
But then he'll like go off at people for saying that he's Lewis, but then he'll kind of admit to being Lewis in that same chat, like probably like two messages later.
Yeah.
And then he'll go off on this like massive thing, but you think it's a joke or a skit or something, but he's so invested in it, and he's so...
Yeah, well, hey, that's cool. It's like a method acting.
Yeah, I think when method acting goes wrong, I think this community is just like when insert here goes wrong. You know what I mean? It could be anything that they try, and because it's like comes from such a place of like people who've been shut inside their respective attics.
My favorite character is Albert, though. Albert is the most fascinating one to me.
I went off Albert. He got a bit boring, actually. Albert's all right. He's I don't know. There's something.
Albert would be better if you didn't hang out. If he wasn't hanging out with Dean and those guys. If he would, he would be way better. I would actually. He was watchable before.
We've seen him just disintegrate in front of our eyes.
And it seems like he's getting worse with like whatever he's doing. It seems like he's going in a downward spiral, and
I mean, the thing is with that, like, we're just seeing more of him as well, aren't we? Because he's just learning how to stream himself as well. So we're going to see more of him at different times a day. So, maybe it could be getting worse, or we're just seeing more of it. I don't know.
It's crazy. Crazy.
I like Albert. I think my favourite character, that's an interesting one. Out of the rats, it used to be Ricardo, but now he's not a rat, so I can't have him anymore.
All right.
I don't know. I quite like D. Reed as a lol cow, because he's kind of like doing commentary on it without really doing commentary on it.
Not enough content though. He doesn't do much.
No, but I like people who do commentary on it like as a filter. So he'll but it's like it's interesting. So it's like Sherlock Holmes commentary. So you have to like read between the lines with him, and you have to work out what he's not saying, and you have to work out what damage he's trying to limit, and
Right,
all the,
right.
he's like an ARG, you know. He's just like
I don't know. Like I listened to him where the one with Evil and Ricardo, and then he came in for a bit. And I was listening to that, and he's saying a lot of stuff, and it's like it's almost like he's saying a lot and not saying anything.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. He didn't really.
Yeah. His grandma. He's just trying to buffer the situation. He's just a buffer zone.
Right.
That's what they do,
I mean, I think that it's evident when that clip that I posted earlier, where he starts off by saying, "Well, no, it wasn't because he timed out me," and then he does these he talks in circles, and then he ends up where it was because it was timed out.
Well, exactly. Here we go. When gaslighting goes wrong, it's just so it just takes.
It's almost in the same breath. He contradicts himself.
Yeah, and the thing is, they have no pride in it, or they're just there's such a lack of self-awareness. Even maybe that's what it is. But they'll just do it in that same sentence, like you highlighted, and that they've been doing that since day one. But the thing that was so interesting is that the group of people they were trying to manipulate, the March of the Penguins, the majority of people. I mean, a lot of them were just there for the shit show anyway, so they didn't give a shit. But a lot of people went with it. And like I say, lots of people went with it because they were just there for the shit. And so they're like, yeah, go for it. Like, call that person cunt. It's fine.
Yeah, that's the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah. Sorry, CP. So I was making videos, right? And then there's this guy called Avol.
Okay.
And every time I make a video, he would be like, hey, dude, Billy, dude, denounce the snakes. Denounce the snakes.
Oh, Volk.
It's fine. That's Billy.
I love Volk, and if you are listening, Volk, I want to say, yes, I got your joke. But at the time, you can't blame me for being overly sensitive, because I was overly sensitive, and he put a joke on my comments, and I was like, just broke up. And I was just like, how dare you say such a thing to me after what's happened to me? And like,
I'm sorry, I totally missed that.
Oh, right. With Volk, he put the last interaction I've had with him, he put a comment on mine saying, don't let anyone own you. Talking about Gotham. And I was just like, and he was joking. Right. And I was like, and I realised afterwards, I was like, that is actually quite funny.
Yeah.
But like at the time, because I'm so used to him being straight down the line with it, when he's doing the snake thing with you and them just not budging on it.
I think that was kind of like a joke too, because then there was one time where he put a winky face on it. And I was like, okay, this guy, I don't know. There's this guy Volpe, and he's very mysterious, right? Like sometimes it seems ambiguous what he says, and then he would always say.
So wait, hold on. So he gave you the winky face?
Yeah, but
I mean, I guess it's better than the blowing kiss.
Yeah,
right?
but okay. But the thing is there's the snakes, which is the villains are the snakes, which is. Anybody who doesn't like these guys is a snake, whatever, right? So they kind of put that label on anybody who they want. And so he's trying to say that I'm a snake or whatever, and that I should denounce the snakes, and I was like, I don't even get what that is anyways.
Yeah, well, when you were first coming in with your videos and your stuff about Darius,
I was putting the Cobra Commander thing, but I never got to really explain this. But like,
no, but you weren't a snake. But they were trying to basically put you in the fringes before you even got a voice. You know what I mean? They were
right. But I mean, I used a lot of snake imagery in the beginning.
Yeah, I use snake imagery still though, because it's a country, isn't it? Like,
but the thing is, I see them as the snakes. Darius is Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
Right? Because what's Cobra Commander like? He's supposed to be the leader, but he's a bumbling fool, and the other guys always shit on him. Yeah. Right? Albert is Destro. Destro is Albert, right? Because he's got the chrome dome. And then Cyan Razor Cell is the Baroness. Right?
Oh my
God. And then you got D. Reed is Major Blood, and then you got everybody else.
I don't know any of these references.
I know.
I'm racking my brain for the back of it. I remember the Baroness. I remember that. But like, we're talking, I didn't see that since back in the day.
Yeah. I did that as a joke a long time ago.
Yeah.
But like that's what I see. That's why I used to use the Cobra Commander thing. Because I was afraid that people are going to think, oh, I'm claiming to be the leader, right? But the thing is, that's how I see Darius as.
Yeah. I mean, those guys have a constant. I mean, just the hypocrisy. It's just. My kid said to me the other day. He said a question of like, he went, "Mummy, is it possible to have too much fun in life to make you poorly?" And I was like, "Yes, I could definitely say that after what's happened these last few months, definitely you can have too much fun, but it's not a bad thing. It's just too much to handle. Sometimes you're just like, and for me, one of those is when those guys are just sat there talking about the snakes, doing their thing, selling their story, while they are acting the most snaky you have ever seen. Like,
exactly, it's so funny. They're the ones that are the worst snakes.
They're the ones literally turning on people and going, "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that." And like you
said, I got two definitions of snake. One time I asked Volp, "What's your definition of a snake?" And he said, "Well, somebody who's deceptive, somebody who's right, your classical
way you bastard." Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm like, and I looked at myself and I'm like, well, I never done any of those things, so how can I be a snake by your definition?
So he's calling me a snake.
Yeah, but obviously not, right? But they used it as a mechanism. It's like I think Darius used that as a mechanism very early on.
I think they're very limited in their understanding of analogies, and creative. And that's why they've got so little creativity. So for them, the snake thing, it stops there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through the window, they look at their reflection in the glass. That is all they see. They don't see any of that. They don't probably know that snake means. I mean, Volp does, but they don't understand what that is actually representative of a person and a trait.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but then D. Reed gave a definition of a snake in the video the other day, and it was still like, okay, you're still talking about yourself.
So what was the definition?
I don't remember now.
It's basically boils down to anyone who disagrees with Albert, and they say they dress in various different ways, and they try and get around it because they're snakes. And I think it is just like, while none of them can be authentic, none of them can pinpoint. You can't pinpoint any of them on a subject and just go, "What about this then?" Because they'll just snake around the subject, and it's just obvious to anyone who can see. But and that was the other part that made it too much fun, because then on top of it, you've got all these people falling for it and going, "Oh yeah, the snakes."
Yeah.
While there is a literal snake flipping around right in front of them, spouting off for 3 hours, giving no information, no proof, no nothing. And then on top of that made it even more fun was the fact that it came from this community, which was the original Radical Rick thing, where it was just like all evidence-based. You couldn't go in spouting off without someone going, "Right, come on, back yourself up with a bit of information then." It was like the opposite of what was going on with these guys, where they were literally going around going,
I don't think
you live with your mother, just coming up with shit.
Yeah, everybody lives with their mother. It's like they don't have that higher sense of, like, I think they're not capable. It's like they don't have that higher intellect to look deeper into things. Everything's face value. Everything is like, you live in your mother's basement. Everybody's like, I was accused very early on of living in my mom's basement,
but
and
they all live
with and all of these things are
but even if you were all of those things,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Why isn't it anybody's fucking business?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So is he saying these things because this is exactly what's happening to
him? Yes. It's projected.
He's living in his mommy's basement.
Well, no, but I mean, he might as well be.
No, he is. He is, though, isn't he? Dean. He's basically he everything he's done, and this is what I've learned as well. One of the things that they say, one of the mantras in the sort of narcissistic thing that I've been looking at, is that every narc apology is a confession. So, we've heard a lot of that from Dean. Lots of confessions, and it's all been proven as well, because the actual snakes he's got their backs up, and they've gone in and found out the information because he's basically goaded them into it, and it's been proven.
Where's he jerking off to?
The Baroness from G.I. Joe. You never watched G.I. Joe?
No.
Oh.
You'll have seen
it. The girl or something?
Yeah, it's a girl, the Russian spy with the black hair and
okay. Well, at least it's a girl. You never know, but.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Listen, I don't care if you're gay, but this whole transgender shit.
Well, we're not going to go into that.
I'm allowed to
Yeah, you can say what you want.
Shit. You don't like it? Oh well.
Evil Stream, he said he likes the glasses. He's like me.
He likes the glasses.
Good job, Evil.
What's with you guys in glasses? It's that nerdy look, right?
I don't know, I guess.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Interesting.
I don't wear my glasses. I can't be arsed with them. They were pulling my face.
Yeah, like you. You never wear your
I
glasses.
never wear my glasses either. But you like it when
you
I
get
do.
that free feeling on you. I just took them off one time and I was like, why am I wearing these? I just struggle to see instead. I prefer the freedom. And walking into places and it all fogging up and stuff like that, I couldn't be bothered with it. So,
Yeah, it's the nerdy look. Yeah, I don't know. And the short skirt and the...
Wow. Anyway.
Well, he was the one that was talking about jerking off.
I know.
I can't see the chat. I'm just hearing
Right.
this disjointed conversation. It's hilarious.
Janine
From
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Janine. Oh yeah, she's cool.
Right. Okay. All right. So it's
So where did we get to?
I don't know. We're talking about
Cool sex talk. I'll go.
Get Sweet and Tender. That's another dude. I haven't had too much
We
interactions
never
with
did
him, but
do that
he's
sex
cool.
panel. We should do that.
Yeah, I never really had too many interactions with him, but he seemed cool.
Oh, he's good in.
Yeah. He seems cool.
Yeah, he's one of the good guys.
Who's
Yeah.
that?
Is one of our. He's in the group chat thing. And
Hooligan's interesting, Mrs. Blonde, because he actually manages to toe the line between the rats and the snakes. There's only a couple of people who managed to do it, and for some reason, Hooligan has managed it. I don't know how. What's his secret? Tell him.
if you can get, yeah. Well, I think this side of things will accept somebody who's like, I don't care if you're a fan of Darius or whatever.
Yeah, not at all. It's fine.
As long as you're cool to me, I'm cool with you.
Yeah. Well, for me,
So the trick is getting them to like you, even though you like us.
I had a little bit of a difference because you can't be a rat, you can't be in their clique without doing everyone down all the time. Otherwise, you get kicked out. It's like Tommy with the fight. You don't play a game, you get kicked out. If you don't slag people off over there, you get kicked out. You know what I mean? You're not useful to them anymore. So they're all like vying for usefulness. There'll be a pecking order and all sorts
going. That's what I think. I mean, is because it's certain people are worth having around.
Yeah.
Sweet and Tender is like probably good conversation, so it benefits them to have him around on the streams.
And he knows people outside of it all as well, doesn't he? So there's a chance that he's going to bring other eyes to their tale and stuff who haven't seen the other side of the story. So they won't think of it like that, but to them it's like a more open audience to them. So there's that.
Tommy and Carla. I don't know what they're going on about.
Let's read Tommy's. LOL, you want the secret? Hooligan is a character created to be nice within the anti-amigos. We're accused of being too mean. Oh, that's a whole other thing. I don't even know if I can explain to you the amico. Oh my God. That's a rabbit hole.
You need those guys on here for that, though.
Yeah.
No, don't butcher
it. That's a whole other thing.
So you want the proper story told about
that.
Mike L is the god of emulation.
You want to get a panel of you want Evil, Hooligan, Tommy, and Smash JT on panel talking about the
There's a get.
That's what I want anyway. That'd be funny.
The one that she's saying?
This just a bunch of people, but Smash JT is like but he seems down to earth. Like I've interacted with Smash JT in the past.
Yeah.
With comments and stuff. Yeah, he responded like I made a point and he was like, "Oh, that's a good point," whatever. Something about YouTube. I don't remember too. It was a long time ago, but he seems pretty
within the space, and he's a bit of a sniveling wretch.
Right.
But within the space, he's fine, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But he's he was one of the main focuses of Darius when I first.
Right. And I think I'm starting to kind of come around a little bit. Like, I understand why this whole anti-e-beggar thing, what it comes from, because I'm starting to understand. Because, like, on its face, I'm like, what's your problem? Like, who cares if these people are trying to make money? But what I think I see is it's a certain type of person who, because I went to a stream the other day where the guy kept talking. All he wanted to talk about was the algorithm, and if you do this, you get this views. And
you can see it if you go over to Twitch. You see the difference. You just see the difference in. I mean, it's done now anyway. Like, you know, I mean, we're just like the last corner.
Right.
Where they're speaking like Gaelic or something in the corner after the invasion. Like,
right. But why not just do a show and not talk about that? Like, you could think about that stuff, but like, this guy's constantly talking about it.
Because they have to normalize it at the moment as well.
Right,
because we're still in a transitional period, aren't we? Where people are there's still a little bit of conscience. There's still a bit of, you should be doing a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. And there's still that. And they have to argue it out of themselves. And they have to bring other people in. Again, it's that cult mentality. That's why I'm into that narcissism stuff now, and why I want to bring it round. Because a lot of it is tech-based narcissism now. And a lot of people, I mean, the next generation will all be narcissists at some level because of the way they've been brought up with technology, because they're identifying with avatars and their internal interpretation of what people are rather than the external person. Right. That's just a matter of fact. That's just going to happen as a natural response.
Right. It's kind of like the whole thing. The reason why I came up with the Mr. Blonde thing, because you're meant to have this alter ego that, you know, represents you or is goes in your place, that instead of your real self, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's there as a protection, but it also you know, takes away your identity.
Yeah. And
your real self.
You do behave differently over it as well.
Right. It's like an alter ego.
Yeah. That's it, and it brings it out in a tangible way, ironically, when you're doing it on the internet, because, like, you know, it happens probably naturally before all this came about. You know, back in the wild, back in the olden days, it would have just been natural at some level to have these sort of internal representations of yourself.
Well, you would have to go out and be that person, right?
The world. You had to break from it, you know what I mean? And you had real people, and there wasn't. It was just like a daydream, wasn't it? There wasn't an actual escape from reality that you could go and do, apart from read a book, you know, or later on play a board game and get into all the role-playing games and stuff. But that was way later on.
Right.
And it's just interesting because it all ties back in. I mean, for me, the e-begging thing, especially, I mean, it changes, but for now, like, I've watched someone go from being like a really nice guy, and he is still a nice guy, do you know what I mean? I watched someone just like, and Alpha Nerd knows him, and I just watched the whole thing go. I saw this bigger YouTuber come in, I mean, he already was involved, inspired him and took control of him, and basically tried to normalize the e-begging with this guy who'd always been, his main mantra was like, friends don't give friends money, and the other thing was no mods, no masters, and things like that. And within a year, he still does it now, like streams where it's like he's got like 8 core subscribers that come round, and he's doing streamathons and got like £1,000 targets and things like that. And they do it. These idiots do it. You know, these eight women over this course of a month or something will give him $1,000.
Wow.
Or $2,000 or however much it is.
Right.
And he's just learnt it from this bigger guy. And I've just seen him, like, I've seen the struggles he had. He had a massive struggle with me because I was always like very anti it all. But I wasn't like kicking off at him or anything, but I was just giving him advice and stuff like that. And over time, he had to push me out because it was just too conflicting for him. So any reality, any real people who were just his mates and people who would do things creatively with him, they all got pushed away because he had to chase these 8 cash cows.
Right.
And it's just, it was just the way, and I'm not bitter about that at all, because I was already on my way out and all that stuff. So don't think for any minute it's any sort of bitterness, because I was just there for the show. I was just there to watch this thing happen. And I did, and it was bloody amazing to see. But this poor guy now is stuck now in this weird cycle that he thinks he's winning, but he's just begging off people every day. And you can tell, you know, it had a massive effect on his personality. You know, he probably, you know, I don't think he had massive self-confidence before, but yeah, it just went out the
I think
window.
people they get way too serious about it. It becomes their livelihood, right? And then it's like
and then you get into these cults then where they're all normalizing it as well. So they've all got to then, like we were saying, it's just on a smaller level with the rats, when they're all like vying for relevance, or they're vying for how important and how useful they are to that person. So if you've got like a big streamer who's on top and you've got all his minions who are also normalizing, it's pyramid scheme, who are also normalizing it, then you've got like, you know, all these people who are then trying to be more e-beggy than the last person to fit in with the big person, so they're more important to the big person, and then the people underneath are doing it for the people on that tier, and it just goes on like that. And that's why I'm against the why I'm against the e-begging. Where I was, because it's unbridled. It has too much power over people's psychology.
right. But I mean, I think there's a right way though, right? Like
there's loads of ways.
I see things that I watch that I enjoy, like the Shuli Network and that whole like thing. And do the monetized, and they get super chats and all that.
Yeah, Patreon on paper is a nice idea, isn't it? But you soon see how that can be co-opted. But so many things like religion, you know what I mean? Like, that's a nice thing of some guy telling everyone to be nice to each other, and look at what they made out of that. So like,
right. But I'm saying, like, I support those kind of things. They actually come up with good show. They do a show, right? Like, it's like a radio show.
Yeah,
it's not like these guys just sitting there. There's a difference between somebody putting on a show, having guests, and they put together stuff, and they're funny and entertaining, and then there's a guy just sitting there playing video games and asking people, you know, oh, I can't make my rent and I'm sick and and they need money. There's a difference between that.
But how does it? Where does it? You know, how?
Well, that's the question, right? And when back in the Radical Rick days, I always pushed. I tried to get into Radical Rick's ear, and I always pushed. The discussion should be, where is the gray line, and how do we define somebody who is egregious versus somebody who is doing it right?
Oh, good luck with
Rick. But the thing is, he just blanketed, anytime you get money, you're an e-beggar. Yeah, man, that gave the green light for people like Darius to go all in.
Yeah. Well, that, you know, I'm not against that. That you know, that made that. Yeah, you're very right. That pushed those extremes. He was in the middle, like,
right.
The force in the middle pushing it, and then you had these two splurgers coming out on either side.
Right. Because I thought that was the real discussion, was trying to figure out that where that blurred line is.
That'd be the progressive way of looking at it, but everyone was too busy being shocked at it. And also, as we know, drama is the thing that sells. Although I think a decent conversation, like you're saying, would have been just as popular, because everyone was very into the conversation.
Well, and it's very gray, right? So it's like
a different take on it,
right. You know, it's like, where's the line between somebody, like I said, somebody who's egregious and e-begging, to somebody who actually deserves to.
Just answered it. It's a personal line. It really is, and that's the problem with it, because you can't let one set of a license, isn't it? But then who's going to give the licenses out, like? Because like in our city, if you want to busk, you need a license. You can get the license for free, but you have to go to the council and fill the form in. It takes like 20 minutes, and you can fill the form in, and then you can go busking. But you have to go and fill the form in. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So that they've got you on a database or something. I don't know, but like,
maybe, or so they can tax you.
I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know if
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know why they do it.
The government, I'm assuming that first. But so, anyways, but like, my take on it is this: there's some guys out there that they do a lot of work into their stuff, and look, being a video editor, that's a real job. Mm-hmm. Being a writer, screenplay writer, you're writing script, that's a real job, right? All of these things are real jobs to people and that make money. So if you decide to stay home and do all of those jobs for yourself and create a business where you're making videos and whatever, that's a lot of work. Writing a script for you to read up on your video, doing the editing, making sure the lighting is good.
Part of the work, I think actually I'd say 90% of the work of being an author, a screenwriter, or anything is being able to sell your product, and that is being done for you. So like all that stuff, and it's wrong that that's the way it is, but in our world that is the way it is. So you could be the best artist in the world, if you're not out there, then you're not going to get any money back for your work. So it's about being able to frame it and sell it and produce it, and that's
so isn't what some of these guys on YouTube are doing though? Like they're putting the stuff out there.
A very good way of doing it, but people are kind of sitting on that. So it's curtailing people for that, but especially with the censorship and all that stuff. It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, and it's like everyone getting all their entertainment from Netflix. You know what I mean? It's like a little bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing because everything's coming through that one channel. So there's that, but I don't know. Like, I'm kind of lost.
Well, that's why the discussion would that's where the discussion should be. So, anyways, we've been at this for an hour, and I'm kind of getting a little tired. So I think I'm gonna kind of wrap this up. Is there anything you want to finish off with?
No. What does Mrs. Blonde think about it all?
What do you think about all this?
I'm confused on a lot of it.
Yeah, we kind of went off into a different.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But
no, it's all good.
But you know about e-begging, right? You know about channels that get donations and stuff like that,
yeah,
right? And it's like, how do you feel about that? Do you think it's right? Do you think it's wrong?
No, I think everyone should get their fucking asses out and get a job, instead of begging people over money.
Right.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but what about people that actually do put together like a show, like something that's impressive and that entertains you? Don't you think that they should get paid for doing what they do?
Like, are you talking about YouTube
specifically? Yeah.
Like what they call those YouTubers?
Yeah.
But that's just an easy way to make money, though. Isn't that not?
But is it easy
way out?
But is it easy to?
But what happened with people like going out and actually getting a job and working from this time to this time?
No, I agree with you, but,
right?
But I mean,
like anybody can fucking, a blind person can pick up a camera and like.
Right.
I don't know. I think people are just too fucking lazy nowadays.
Yeah, agreed.
I agree with that.
And it's helping people get more lazy, isn't it? It's like, you don't have to go and get a job.
Yeah, there's so many fucking bums on the street, and it's like, get the fuck off the street, go to the and get a job, or go to McDonald's. I don't know. Like, there's always places that are hiring, but instead they choose to sit there on the corner of the fucking street and beg for money. Well,
sometimes some of them are mentally ill. They're mentally suffering with addiction.
So go get fucking help, man.
But we live like they can't help everybody. There's so many people, and especially.
So why is that our problem? For us who go to work every damn day, right?
Right.
Yeah. So where do you think our money is going?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I have no clue. I would like to know that, actually.
Yeah, it's probably going towards them. Our tax money is going towards them.
Well, it's going towards programs that don't work. Is probably what it is. But what they're doing is
towards them.
But what's happening is our government is printing so much money, and it's driving up it's devaluing the dollar. And it's making things so expensive that like we can't afford everyday things, and that's what the problem is. And now we've also on the same time they're flooding in the streets with fentanyl,
Yeah.
And everybody, and because like
Yeah.
normally, there's always been addicts and whatever, but these painkillers and prescription drugs that are very addictive. Now you have regular people that would probably never have become a heroin addict. Now they're basically a heroin addict because of painkillers.
Mm.
So it's like double the amount of addicts.
Fentanyl, oxy.
Right.
fuck,
So
I
so
don't even know
so
what
so on
else.
top of the people that would have
Percocets.
so on top of the people that were always on that path to becoming a drug addict, now you have regular people who hurt their back,
Yep.
who wouldn't have become a drug addict, but now they are a drug addict because of these prescription drugs, and it's sad, and where we are, it's really bad.
Yeah, but the thing is, the doctors, right? It's the doctors' faults too.
Well, they get
Because-
kickbacks for prescribing sometimes these drugs.
Oh yeah, they're massively in the pocket of the companies. They're all
But the doctors or the pharmaceuticals?
Well, the pharmaceutical companies incentivize the doctors to push the drugs. Anyways, this is a video game channel. So
I don't know how we got there, but
okay, so I think we're gonna cut it off there.
All right, cool. It's been lovely to meet you, Mrs. Blonde, and hopefully we get to do this again.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. See you later.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye everybody. Bye Tommy, Evil, Carla.
Bye, Carla, Evil, Tommy.